Immigration stop, I guess. I was kind of hoping for a cigarette break. It's a border patrol station. Kind of weird because they don't have those in Nebraska or Colorado.
Sir, U.S. citizen, sir?
Hmm?
U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. ¿Tú? Sí. Where are you going, sir? ¿Está con usted?
So I guess the next place on our list is Van Horn. Yeah. And I guess that's about a half an hour away. I'll have a cigarette there. I actually ran out at the last bus station in San Antonio, but a lady gave me 2 menthols. Not really a big fan of menthols, but then again, I'm not a fan of cigarettes, period. I did, however, leave my hat in the Walgreens there in San Antonio. Bless you. I wonder what Mariah Johnson would think about this. I think the worst part is that most of the best workers I ever met are from Mexico, and those seem to be the only people we're deporting. Are we deporting Canadians the way that we're deporting everybody else? Oh yeah, it's not everybody else, we're only deporting the brown people. That's weird to me too. Like, I got lots of friends that are from foreign countries, and not all of them are brown-skinned. But it seems to me that none of my white-skinned friends from foreign countries are being sent home. I would be so ecstatic if we sent Trump's wife home. And people want to talk about how Mexicans are ruining the United States. And then, of course, there's me going to Colorado. I get to see, like, the meatpacking factory there in Fort Collins. Like, they hire almost exclusively Hispanic people. They won't hire white people. And then every 3 months, they call immigration on themselves. And although it's a felony for these businesses to hire these people, there is never any consequences for these business owners. Meanwhile, every 3 months, like clockwork, they screw a whole bunch of immigrants out of their paycheck because it's more money, it's free profits. What it actually is slave labor. See, if you have somebody do work for you, and you tell them that you're going to pay them, and they do the work, and you don't pay them, and you have them deported for doing you a favor, you're not a human being, you're a friggin' monster. And you deserve to spend the rest of your life in prison. I mean the rest of your life, because for each and every one of those immigrants that you screwed over their entire life. There are things that they will never be able to recover from because of that. You're darn right I'm on the Mexican side, although I'm on the American side of the border, which is why this border patrol action here is creepy. This isn't the border between Texas and Mexico. We're already 100 miles at least into Texas. We're nowhere near the Texas-Mexico border. I don't get it. Like, how is this, first of all, how is it constitutional? Look at them fellers out there. Big old semi in the way. So they come on board, and I guess they spend about 15 minutes per trip, making sure everybody on board is allowed to be there. It looks to me like they're mostly just messing with brown people, as always. There's their station over there. Not sure if you can see them fellers. But this is where our tax dollars are going, really? To screwing the workers out of their hard-earned money? To kicking people out of the country because they're a different skin color? And it is skin color. See, I'm from Nebraska. In the 1950s, we went through this. In the 1950s, they took everybody who was brown out of Nebraska. They didn't care if you were born in Nebraska. Most of those Hispanic families weren't Hispanic. They had been there since before Nebraska was a state. But what do? They went through and they picked up all the brown people in Big Springs and Chapel, Nebraska, and they put them on buses and they drove them to Mexico. People who were Native Americans got driven to Mexico. People from Guatemala got driven to Mexico. People who were Spanish got driven to Mexico. Basically, if you weren't white, you got driven to Mexico. So that's what we're dealing with today. I'm watching them go through the bus. They stopped at all the brown people seats. And those are the only seats they really stopped at, except coming back to me and asking me if I was a citizen. That's all the more they asked me. But you see, these brown people all had to pull out their paperwork and show it to these assholes here. Lovely fellers. Lovely fellers.